Welcome to another episode of Hustle and Heart Podcast. Today I have Whitney with me.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
I love it. I love it. Appreciate you coming in and tuning in to this podcast. We're going to be talking about multiple different things today, especially when it comes to being an entrepreneur with kids and what obstacles you face when it comes to having time to take care of those kids.
Yes.
So, in today's world, what obstacles do you run into when it comes to being an entrepreneur and also having to do multiple other things, especially when it comes to having kids?
So I am a salon owner, and I actually do hair. I own a salon and a barbershop, Whitney Boo Hair Studio and Harper's Barbershop. I would say the biggest challenge as my daughter has gotten older is her kind of understanding, that once mommy got to work, like when you're at the salon, I try to be very attentive to her, but at the same time, I could be oftentimes pulled in other directions, whether that's attending to a client or one of the staff having issues, you got to dress, it's kind of sometimes as an entrepreneur, it's never a dull moment. It's always something you're just pulled in different directions at times. I do think I handle it somewhat well, but there's always room for growth.
I love it.
And I really just try to explain things to her. My daughter's 8. But sometimes she doesn't understand that, it's work.
Yeah, yeah, and that's fair. That's fair. Now, are you the first to be an entrepreneur in your family?
No, it's quite a bit of us. My dad and my stepmom, they're entrepreneurs. My siblings are entrepreneurs as well. But I am the oldest child.
I love it. I love it. So this is not new to you.
No.
It's not new to you, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. Some of the obstacles that I face, which I don't have any kids, but I do have nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
I have 3 sisters and 1 brother, and 2 of my sisters have. One of them have 3 kids. The other one have 2 kids. My younger sister don't have any kids, which she just got married, so I'm assuming that's probably gonna be coming here shortly. And my older brother he has 2 sons. Now those I sometimes do face obstacles when it comes to that because I want to be there for my nieces and my nephews, but it's like I'm always working.
Yep.
For some odd reason, I'm just like I can't stop working, and it's not because I'm not saying no, but it's also because like life be life.
Yeah. And it's hard to not work when you love doing what you do.
I know.
And you get these opportunities and it's like, sometimes you do have to miss out on things.
Yeah.
But certain things you just can't miss out on.
Yeah. So what do you feel like is most important to be there for your child? Do you feel like it's time? Do you feel like it's lessons? Do you feel like it's, being able to feed her when she needs to be fed? Like, what do you feel like are things that just are like, I have to do this, and there's some things that she can kind of like learn on her own and grow?
I think I would probably say the lessons. Because I feel like you were just saying, time can sometimes be limited, and I definitely got a shout out to my village because that's how we're able to work and grind the way that I'm able to and get these different opportunities. So I would say I try to instill in her different life lessons. So even though I might not always be with her, I'm confident and know that when she's not around, she's making good sound decisions,
I love that. I love that. Definitely, how old is she?
8.
8. So she's getting to the age to where she's like, I kind of understand what's going on.
Yeah.
I can understand. I love that. I love that. Now, being an entrepreneur and owning, you said a salon and a barbershop?
Yes.
How does that work for you? Is it stressful? Is it do life be life when it comes to that?
Yes. Sometimes it's very stressful. It sometimes is also overwhelming. What has helped me along this journey is transparency. I've learned that with my team, I just bring them along the journey. This is what I'm facing. This is what's going on. This is how I'm getting through it, so that also, too, if and ever the event, they're in certain situations, they know how to maneuver and how to handle them too, you
I
know.
like that.
So,
So you think having a team is really the most important thing when it comes to owning multiple different businesses?
yes, I feel like you have to find the right people. I cannot stress that. You cannot have the right people. You gotta have the right people. I
Yeah.
know a lot of times they just when people open up businesses, they go different ventures, they just want to get any and everybody. No, you need
The
good,
right people.
like-minded people
Yeah.
that also even challenge your thinking.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need new creatives. I allow my team to be them. And I always feel like iron sharpens iron. I want to be
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
greatness. I want them to know they're among greatness
Yeah.
because we're all great
Yeah.
in our own individual ways.
Yeah.
But together, we move mountains.
I love it. I love it. So what do you feel like you would want her path to be in life? Do you feel like you want her to be an entrepreneur because you are, or
I'm very like open. I would like for her to do whatever, you know, her little heart allows. I'm not real big on being put in a box. So I don't want her being in a box.
yeah. I love it. I love
She's
it.
very
I don't blame
athletic.
you.
She's very smart.
Yeah.
So I honestly feel like she could do anything she wanted
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Like she really excels in everything. And I'm not saying that just because she's my daughter. Like she really like she be
She
teaching
be
me.
doing it.
She be teaching me.
Listen, new technology is out every single day, and it's like the younger generation and people that's coming up, between age 8, 9, and 10. It's like they learn different things. They watching YouTube. They on their cell phone. It's like almost you have to really deep down at an older age, you got to go take a step back into their generation to learn like what's the new technology. How do I market my business the right way? How do I do this? What has changed when it comes to being on commercials, or now it's social media, or it's
Yep.
now it's digital marketing? And I feel like it's just so much, but almost it's like being an entrepreneur is never ever ever easy.
No,
And I don't understand how people do it, because me being a photographer and a videographer is very stressful.
I can only imagine.
And well, because the thing is with me, it's like one thing you got to do is when you get a client, and sometimes it helps out if that client has an idea, and it's almost like when you get a client and the client comes to you and say, "Hey, I want this type of hairstyle." And the same thing for me is they say, "I want to do this type of shoot." It's like, do you go and kind of figure out how you're gonna do their hair before they come in, or once you come in and you see their hair and it's like, why didn't you do these steps before you came to me? So I'm just like,
Yeah.
once I get there, you gotta plan it out. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. You gotta do this, and then for me, you gotta come back home. You gotta edit, and you gotta send it off, and then maybe they're not happy.
It's work after work.
It's work after work after work after work. Now, have you had any clients to where? So I don't necessarily know your process. So your process is, let's just say if I'm a client, I have long hair, which I don't. And I want to come to you and I say, what's a popular hairstyle?
A blowout,
Oh,
extensions.
okay, and let's say if I come to you and I want to blow out, right? And I come in with my scarf on, my hair is not washed. I don't know nothing about women's hair right now. I'm just making this up. My hair is not washed. Do you typically like do those certain steps to, make sure that your process is a lot easier to tell the client, like, do this, do this, do this before you come?
Yes. So typically, like everything is like outlined on our booking site. We try to at least the preliminary things. So as far as like a new client, we highly recommend you book a consultation so that way you can get a feel for me, I can get a feel for you, and we can kind of go over what you need to potentially book versus you just booking one thing and you might need the works. Hair might be needing to be a trim. You might need a little TLC. You might need a treatment and a couple other services. So we try to make sure we have time for that. Certain things can always be added on the day of, but certain things you just need like the proper time to do it. Like you just can't.
Right. So then that's being an entrepreneur. How do you deal with a flustered client?
It kind of depends on what it is. There's no like one way, but I definitely try to hear them out. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? Because you can't one please everybody, and that doesn't mean like oh well, but I try to meet people in the middle. You know what I'm saying? I try to understand why are they flustered, like
What's
how can
going
I make
on?
this situation better? And I think
Exactly.
I'm also coming from not only as the stylist, but as an owner because I gotta meet in the middle. I can't just let any and everybody, just leave unhappy, not satisfied. Now, some people, they're just nitpicky. They'll never be satisfied.
Yeah.
But on average, most people, there's a common ground. There's a
Yeah.
solution
Yeah.
that can be,
Yeah.
But I try to eliminate a lot of that.
Mm. I love to hear that. I love to hear that because I feel like customer service is like top tier. And the only reason I say that is because over the past years, I've learned that being a business owner, the first thing I feel like most business owner needs to master is customer service.
Yeah,
The reason why I say that is because customer service leads to word of mouth. Word of mouth then leads to marketing. Then marketing leads to money.
yeah. I think honestly, it's customer service honestly over everything, but not as in customers always right customer service. Customer service could be being prompt, always being consistent with your work ethic, properly communicating. All those things go into effect with your customer service. And sometimes with the service industry, the service is one thing. I feel like the service, you providing a good service is good, but we see it every day where clients will love people who provide great services. But if that customer service is crappy, they're not coming back.
So if you went to, let's just say you're going to get, a massage or a facial or whatever it is, right? Would you prefer to pay someone for the amazing experience? Or would you prefer to pay someone that didn't have that amazing experience, but the facial was amazing?
That's kind of hard. But I think I would want the experience. I would want the good experience.
So people pay for the experience, is what
Yeah.
it sounds
And
like.
because ultimately, even if the service isn't all the way there, that's another part of effective communication as being an entrepreneur. Make it a two-way street. A lot of times, we as entrepreneurs, we're the ones communicators, we're our own bosses, and we have that, oh, I'm bossy mentality. You have to be able to effectively communicate with your clients and give them that feedback and vice versa because that's how you become better. A lot of people are not receptive to feedback. You have to be open to that in order to grow or you stay stagnant. So that's why I personally would go with experience because I'll let them know like, hey, in a massage scenario,
Yeah.
I like this type of pressure.
Right.
A lot of us
Right.
will go to people one time, oh, I didn't like it, they didn't do it at X, Y, Z, but
Right.
sometimes on the other side is like, how can that person know if you didn't communicate with them that that's what you needed? If I don't know the need, how can I know X, Y, and Z?
Right.
Because everything is not a one size fits all.
You speaking. You
Yeah.
speaking. You speaking. I like that. I like that. Definitely the experience for me as well. Um, I would rather pay somebody to have a great experience. Maybe if you walk into a room, the candles is lit, you got some wine, it's cool, it ain't too hot, it's smelling good, and then you like, okay, this experience is really nice.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's when it comes to being an entrepreneur, like life get a little bit easier once you go through that experience
Yes.
of the downfalls and of the failures and of everything else that you went through, and then that's when the knowledge come in play. Your knowledge will take you so much further than anything else in life, only because let's just say you started doing hair 10 years ago.
Yeah.
When you first started doing hair, it may have took you 3 hours to do a blowout.
Right.
And now it may take you 30 minutes to do it.
Right.
Depending on the hair.
Right. Depending on
But
the
but like for me as well, like, being being an entrepreneur and being a photographer and videographer for the past 10 years, like it takes me 30 to 45 minutes to actually do a photo shoot. That comes with setting up, that comes with getting the camera right, that comes with posing, showing them how to pose, finding the nice location within that location. And that's when it comes to experience, the knowledge, and then knowing what you need to do to make life easier as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And that's what I do. It's like, you know what? I try to find, not necessarily outs, but I try to find ways to make life easier. Create a schedule for you. Maybe you might have Sundays as an off day. Mondays might be I'm going to the gym. I'm hanging out with my friends. I'm doing whatever. Tuesday through Friday may be my work days. And then Saturday just may be my fun day. I might just go outside somewhere and
But
have
that's
some
that
fun.
balance we were talking about earlier. Yeah.
So, and it's just like, being an entrepreneur can be hard, having kids and doing this and doing that. But I feel like with that experience and with that knowledge that you have when building over the years, you learn to make life easier for you.
Yeah.
And then you learn to, okay, I'm going to hire this person. I'm going to hire that person.
Yep.
And then as you hiring those people, you can take things off of your plate. You can take your hand out of those hats. And next thing you know, you thriving because, you got this business, you got that business. You can go work out, you can go hang with your kids, you can do this, you can do that. And a lot of people don't understand that. And that's why I'm like, the knowledge that I have, giving it out to people that are, listeners here.
Yes.
And it's like being able to show people and actually tell people, like, hey, this is what you need to do. This is what it takes. And being an entrepreneur is hard, for sure.
Yes.
Because
social media is definitely glorifying it.
It is.
But it's a lot more challenging than what people,
Yeah.
comes to think about a lot of times. But and that's not to deter people, but that's just the reality. You have to see all spectrums.
Yeah, it is. Now, how do you, being an entrepreneur and also a business owner of a salon and a barbershop, how do you handle when it comes to, marketing and all the other hands that you got to have in a hat? Like, how do you do that when it comes to being, I can almost consider like a serial entrepreneur because you have multiple different businesses.
Yeah.
How do you handle all those things when it comes to like that type of stuff?
So when I first kind of like started like growing and adding like members to the team, it wasn't common at the time for salon owners to actually post their stylist work. And that was something that I personally wanted to do different. I had newer stylists and I figured why not use the following, that I had, even though it's, not as big as some, but it's still what I realized is the brand is the brand, regardless of your followers, all those years of me doing hair, people respected the brand that I had built. And so certain services that I didn't provide, they trusted my team, So I post everybody, I don't just post my work.
Yeah.
Now you might see me post more pictures of myself on the business page,
Okay.
but as far as work, you'll see everybody. Like it's gonna be a widespread of stuff. So I do that. I also wanted an environment that even though everybody would be called like what we consider in the hair industry independent contractors. They're their all own bosses. However, we operate as a team, So we in the salon, we all have the same business cards. Their information is on there. The salon information is on there. And it just makes it easier. It was one less thing on their plate. And it gives a more uniform look, all the clients book on their website. And a lot of people, when I first started, other salon owners I knew, they were like, why are you doing that? I don't know if you should do that.
Yeah.
Let them take that cover head and, that overhead and let them figure that out. But what I realized was it was very beneficial for my stylist at the time and still is because it's a domino effect. People go on the website, one stylist is booked, they're going to go to the next stylist because they trust the brand that we've all built. Like, so it's really a win-win, versus people sell necessarily like, let's say, a style seat. There's a catalog with a lot of people. So say if I'm booked and I got my style seat, I'm booked, they're just gonna go on style seat and find another stylist.
Yeah.
Whereas on our website, they're gonna go to another artist within us who's available. And so as we bring in newer stylists and whatnot, is very good for growing.
That helps
You
build the brand.
yes.
It help you are on something right now.
Yeah.
You
Like I know a
I
lot of
love it.
people, they don't build their team up, they compete with their team. I don't like
Yeah.
I strengthen, I build them areas that I see that they can work on, you know, I let them know like and they receive it because they know the place that I'm coming from. I'm not coming from a demeaning or hurtful place. I always want to uplift and encourage, and then vice versa. You know, communication is a two-way street. Areas where I can
Yeah.
improve, we stop each other. Hey, this is what needs to be done, just so that we all can become better versions of ourselves. Like,
That's one thing I don't think a lot of people understand is that you have to stay humble and
yeah,
remain teachable.
oh yeah, you always have to be a student.
You always have to be a student. In order to be a boss, you literally have to be a student. You have to learn. You have to have that knowledge to take those next steps up.
Yeah,
And that's what somebody else said. They came the other day, and her name is Tori. She was just saying like, she loved being a student,
yes,
and I'm just like, some people just think that I got it all. I can do this. I can do that.
you never really have it all.
Never, ever.
Because just when you think you do, life will show you a curveball. Like, oh, this is, honestly, I hate the word boss. It's just so cringy to me. And I know it is a term because you are the boss, but I personally, for me, I like to be more of a leader. I would like to
I like that
lead and guide,
Yeah.
because it's, sometimes like when you get to the whole boss term and lingo, it's almost like a hierarchy. Like when
It
really it's
is.
like we all need each other. And
We
that to
do.
me it's humbling in itself.
Yeah.
Like
is.
like you said, just always being a student. Because you never really have it all.
don't.
There's always something that can be learned.
Yes, yes.
You unlock new levels.
Every
Every day, yes.
day. Yes, and also, I mean, it don't necessarily gotta be when it comes to doing here. It can be financials. It can be marketing. It can literally be anything because the world is always revolving and it's always changing somehow, some way. Especially when it
Yeah.
comes to marketing.
For sure.
Digital marketing is like blown out the water right now because everything is around social media.
Man.
Social media here, Facebook here, website here, but all that has to do with digital marketing.
Yes.
And it's so nice to hear you say like, you help your stylists and the people that you work with grow, and you just don't only post your work, which means that you're not selfish.
Yeah. Not.
And then at the end of the day, when somebody is trying to book, it's like, if you are building this brand and you got this brand to a certain level, people are going to trust the brand, like you said.
Yeah.
And they going to book with whomever that you surround yourself around.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you got people here, and you got 10 heads in the salon when you could only take one at a time.
Right.
So now you got people that's uplifting you uplifting them. And that's just almost like a domino effect.
Yeah. It is.
And I just think that, once trying to be an entrepreneur, you really gotta, I'm not gonna say you gotta have guidance, but you gotta have some type of knowledge on how to make it to the next step, because everybody always asks, how do I take my business to the next level?
Yeah.
What do you do to take the business to the next level? What would you offer? What type of advice would you offer somebody to take it to the next level when they've been in business for 3 to 4 years? Let's just say if they were a stylist, they don't have nobody they work with. They work for themselves. Well, not necessarily for themselves, but work by themselves. What advice would you give somebody, an upcoming stylist or upcoming barber or upcoming anybody that has to do with your field? What advice would you give them to make that next step?
Honestly, I think the next step looks different for everybody. I will also recommend working with other people. Now, like in the beauty industry, it's like the most sought out after thing is for everybody to work by themselves, get you a suite. As soon as you get out of school, go get a suite, go get a suite, go to suite. And I think in some aspects it's good, but in other aspects is not, because you learn and grow so much from working with other people. But I also feel like, to some degree, businesses, we've kind of gone about things a lot of times the wrong way, to
Yeah.
where we are more not wanting people to excel around us. So people feel like, oh, I would rather go work by myself.
Yeah.
But in a sense, if you have that mentality, how could you go to the next level by yourself? You can only
Can't.
go so far by yourself.
Can't.
So I think the more, as a culture, we get out of that, just I have to be the boss mentality, I can do this by myself mentality, I think the better off we would be.
Yeah.
And really just being more open to constructive criticism, whether it's from clients, your peers, and trust the process. The process looks different, like I said, for everybody. I worked in other salons. I've been doing hair for 13 and a half years now.
Wow.
I've worked in other salons half of my career, and when working with other people and working for other salons, I treated theirs like it was my own.
Yeah.
It didn't matter who the owner was. I respected their space. I
Yeah.
worked well with others. Have Be almost the employee you would want to have in your business. Learn every role. Sit back, learn different things. Just learn every aspect of the business first. If you are wanting to break off into owning a salon, barbershop, or just really any business. I think a
Yeah.
lot of times we just, oh, I'm going to open up this, and you haven't even looked at all aspects. A lot of times people don't even know, when you go get a salon or a storefront or any business, you need insurance. I've seen so many businesses like, oh, I need this, I need that. Tragedies happen, and they didn't have insurance. And I'm like, that's the first thing you do. How
Yeah.
did you not have insurance?
Yeah. That's rough. And it was a few things you said that I wanted to hit on, and I think that when I was working for like a company and I was working my 9 to 5, I was getting paid $20, $25 an hour, whatever it was. I would never really understand why they would do this vetting process. You gotta do interviews. You gotta go through. You gotta start at the bottom. You gotta figure out what's this, what's this, what's this. And they always preach, we need good employees. We need good employees. We need
Yeah.
people that are on time. We need to do this. We need to do that. And I'm like, before I was an entrepreneur, I never really understood that. And now I'm like, I understand it now.
Yeah.
Because with me, with me hiring and with me, having multiple different clients, and I can't take them all.
But you want to refer people.
But I can refer people, and also I can hire people.
Yep.
And as I'm hiring these people, they are surrounding, lunch for them is just everybody that I attach to my brand is basically a reflection of me.
Yes.
So let's say if I send a photographer off or a videographer off to a client and the customer service is bad or they didn't do what they needed to do, then that client is calling me and I'm like, okay, what's going on?
Yes.
And now that, that thing that they was telling me is, when I was working at 9 to 5 is you have to have good customer service, because now I send you off somewhere, your customer service is bad, now come back on a reflection of me.
Yeah.
My brand. So now it's like I really understand like the differences between hiring somebody and doing it by yourself. But then there's also a key point to where I can't take them all. I can give you a portion of what I'm getting paid or whatever the cost is or whatever the pay is for that job. But then I can also go out and market somewhere else to get another client.
Right.
So it's like almost a two-way street. Do you hire and try to look and look and look for good people that has good customer service, or do you hire and hope that they have good customer service? That way you can branch off and go get more clients.
I would hire, and I feel like it's kind of like a culture, like for me at least, and how I kind of sought after the people that I did.
Yeah.
I wanted people that had like minded, not necessarily that was like me in every aspect, but we had the same, I guess, like morals of they cared about their work ethic.
Yeah.
They just had different certain standards,
Right.
and I think you definitely have to have that because there's no way I can include you in my work circle and you're not
Yeah.
moving like that. Because, like you said, we're building brands.
Right.
So I can't just put my name on anything.
You can't.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think when you are in your learning process and just being able to see it from all aspects and the different roles of what it takes to run what you want to do,
Yeah.
I think you have a different appreciation on it. And to me, just waiting for the right people. You know, you can't be so hasty to where you
Yeah.
just hiring anybody.
Right.
You gotta find the right people.
Yeah.
Because then just as long as it took you to build your business, it can go down faster. You know what I'm
Faster,
saying? I've
quickly.
seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. You know, so you
Yeah.
want to really stick to your core values. And to me, that's kind of always really been one of mine. I'm not big on just,
Yeah.
uh-uh.
Yeah. And what's crazy is every time I go and search for a job, well, when I was searching for a job, I was always get asked a question like, do you know our core values?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't research that, no. But it was at times where after I was being asked that so much, before I even had applied for the job, I looked at
You
their
need to know
core.
what they stand.
Yeah, well, what they stand for. And I'm like, this is so important because like you building a brand, people love you, people love your brand, people trust who you work with, but they need to know those core values so they can boost your brand up and up and up and up and up, and then everybody works together and then everybody makes money.
Yeah.
So, and I just think that like sometimes being that entrepreneur, once you get into that 5, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, and you are thriving, your business is doing good, it's like you want to be able to hire somebody to take that next role because now you got all these hands in your head. So you can either hire a supervisor, then a supervisor can supervise the people that's under them.
Yeah.
And then so it's like and then that, at this point you climbing, you climbing, you
Going
climbing,
up.
you climbing.
Yes.
And that's the same thing when I think about Amazon. Jeff Bezos is not down at no warehouse throwing no packages.
No.
He hires and hires and hires and hires and work his way up. And I'm just like, it's so much you can do to make your life easier as an entrepreneur, especially when you have those other things that you need to do to take care of your personal life, your kids, your business, whatever it is. And I just think that like sometimes being an entrepreneur is hard, but I didn't necessarily have no guidance of learning that. Nobody taught me this.
Yeah.
I taught myself. I literally
Yeah.
taught myself YouTube University.
Okay.
I taught myself photography off of YouTube.
Wow.
And
That's awesome.
yeah, and I'm just like everything else that came with teaching myself photography when it came to customer service, when it
have to
came to
just
finances,
figure it
when
out.
it came to budgeting, when it came to marketing, when it came to buying equipment and learning how to invest, I literally had to figure it out.
Yeah.
I had to figure it out. And I'm like, what now? What now? So I don't know. I'm just always to the point where I'm always trying to look for that next step. And sometimes I hit like a plateau.
Yeah.
And that plateau just be like, what's next? How can I make the next 100,000? How can I make the next 200,000? How can I get the next client? How can I be the next better person or version of
yourself.
myself?
Yeah.
To make sure that I'm giving everybody and exceeding the expectation of what the client is looking for.
Yeah.
How can I do that?
I think a lot of times people try to grow, not saying that you're doing this,
Mm-hmm.
they try to grow so rapidly, they didn't kind of even bask in the level that they was on. It's like, oh, I hit this goal. All right, tomorrow, what's this? What's that? What's that? You know, it's okay to coast just a little bit. Not
Yeah.
saying get too comfortable.
Yeah.
But different levels just look different. I just think for everybody, you know.
Yeah.
But I think once you kind of like figure out like your way, you would know what next look for you. And I say write your goals down.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of big on. I just write down stuff that I would like to accomplish, things that are important for me, and I just do them little by little.
Yeah.
Like people are asking me that like now, what's your next? And I'm like, right now, I'm just enjoying my life. Because
I love it.
for me, I worked, work, 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 work. I think now this new generation of like entrepreneurs, they just out the gate, know your worth. I ain't working this. I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
And for me, and I'm not gonna agree or disagree with that,
Yeah.
but for me, I say hit the ground running. You know, sow your seeds, work. You know, get a good solid foundation first. Then you start branching off. You know, I feel like if you don't have a solid, you know, understanding of where you are at in your business, you gonna fall, I think, quicker. You know, I think that's why a lot of, you know, really successful people, they always say, you know, Amazon didn't start off to what we know Amazon as
Yeah.
now. I
Yeah.
was
They did.
ordering my books from college off Amazon, and it was not
Yeah.
like 2 day shipping. They just were good, affordable pricing. You
Uh-huh.
know, so it's okay to take time to learn to grow. And I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I think that a lot of businesses grow the way that they do because they're receptive to the feedback from clients. I'm pretty sure it was in a meeting somebody
Mm.
said, "Dang, this would be better if I could
Yeah.
get this in a couple
Right.
days.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get it faster.
Right.
Why take a
Right.
week to ship it? Everybody else
Yeah.
taking a week."
Yeah.
You know, I think we try to put the stress on ourselves of being super innovative, but a lot of times these new ideas and theories of what your next is comes from, I think, just talking to peers, whether it's your clients and whatnot, or, you know, I think you get inspiration in different ways of what next looks for you.
Yeah. I feel like my next is just being a student again.
Yeah.
I think that's really what it is. Like just refreshing my mind on multiple different things when it comes to being an entrepreneur. Not necessarily photography. You know, photography is all I feel like it's always other things to learn.
Oh, yeah.
But just refreshing my memory in my mind on the finances part of it, the
Oh, yeah.
marketing part of it, like how to invest, the right way. Like those are things that like I think that are gonna be good for multiple different, business owners and entrepreneurs. Like become a student again.
Yeah. And investing in yourself. That was, that's a big key because
It is.
people want to make money, but they're not willing to get the right tools, get the right equipment.
It take money to make money.
Yeah, taking
It's
classes, you know, to just still grow.
growth comes in all aspects of life,
Yes.
essentially. Like you just don't necessarily have to grow in one way, grow in multiple different ways. But if there was one thing to wrap this up, if there was one thing that you can give a upcoming entrepreneur that wanted to start a business today, what advice would you give them?
I would say write a plan. And in that plan, have what you want to do. Write and research what you need to do to fill it. Um, and I say just take little steps every day to just do it. There's no right or wrong way and start it. You know, when I started doing hair, it was back like when instead of I was supposed to know social media was big then, but wasn't as big in 2011. I was on Craigslist posting,
Yeah.
you know, just don't don't be afraid to start. I think writing out what you want, your vision, and just have an idea, have a plan, but start. You know, just start putting yourself out there, you know, and it can definitely be scary. But I would say the main thing is you'll never know until you
Until you do it.
start. You
Yeah.
never know until you start. So I would just say, just do it.
Just
Whatever it
do it.
is. Like
Just start.
you start and you know, and you'll
Somewhere.
fine tune it as you go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people nowadays they feel like everything just has to be so perfect. You know, they see, oh well so and so did it and they see them now.
Yeah.
You didn't see them 10
2
years
years
ago, you know,
putting in that
when,
work.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, like when I was in hair school, I was doing hair in my living room.
Believe me,
You
I
know, I just jumped in
same here.
I was working a job and they ended up letting me go. And I was scared. I was like, oh, I'm gonna work my job
Yeah.
and I'm gonna, you know, do hair on the
Right.
side. They let me go and I just hit the ground running. I mean, I was taking You know, at the time, the guy I was with, I was taking money from his check, putting it into it, buying supplies, just little by little, investing in yourself. Like if you don't invest in yourself, nobody else will. Never being afraid to invest. I'm always trying to find new ways of, ways to make things easier in the salon and easier for just our clients and whatnot. So, no, don't be afraid to invest in yourself.
There it is, talking about that experience again.
Yes,
That experience is
it's
different.
everything.
Yes, yes, yes. Please make sure clients, for any entrepreneurs out there, please make sure clients have the best experience when it comes to multiple different opportunities, multiple different business opportunities. Just make sure that they have the best experience.
And creating a good atmosphere.
That's a
Because that's something we try to take pride in.
that's another key one.
Have a good attitude.
A good attitude, good customer service, good atmosphere, good, just all around. Just be good to your clients. Like
Yes, and don't take
it
it for
would take
granted.
you, it would take you a long way.
Yeah,
It will take you. You will have a client for years and years and years if you just treat them right that first time. That first impression is everything.
yeah.
That first impression is everything. So I hope that y'all learned something today from Whitney. Whitney
Yes.
said some gems. She definitely brought the attention to the room when it comes to being a salon owner and also a barbershop owner and also having a kid while she's doing it all. It is tough being an entrepreneur, but
It can be done.
it can be done. As she said, it can be done. But please like, share, subscribe. We appreciate
Yes.
y'all tuning in. We'll be
Yes.
posting videos and gems Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but we will be posting 6 days a week for everything else. So if y'all have any questions for Whitney, please put them in the comments. We appreciate you coming in today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
No worries, no worries. We hope to see you soon and again to
Yes,
give us
I
some
would
more
love
gems.
to come back. I would love to come back.
And we are out. Thank y'all. Peace.